Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And we do full-length car reviews each and every week, and halfway through we stop for a segment called Questions, Coffee, and Cars. We spun it off into its own standalone thing. We're at 92. How do you get a question in?
Follow along on Instagram at Motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning I put a post out on Instagram with Zach and I holding coffees. Once we gather our questions, the post is deleted and we start the show.
Time now for Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Hola, the interior of your car that you do these videos in actually motivated me to look into a new Macan. Personally, I love the inside of a dark black monochromatic interior with very little chrome and aluminum around doors and dash, the complete opposite of all the brushed aluminum on absolutely every single part of a new Mercedes-Benz dash, including the air vents. The Macan had the least by far. What are your thoughts on dark interiors? And what's up with so many manufacturers randomly sticking their infotainment screen on top of the dash?
Well, we could do a whole show just on the infotainment screen stuck on the dash. Yeah, it's a trend. It's a thing. Macan is integrated.
Macan is integrated, yeah, so you must be happy about that.
Yeah.
I don't really love them sitting up on the dash either. I mean, Honda, with all their new models, the touchscreen is now sitting up on the dash. Hey, it's a look. Some like it, some don't. I guess be happy that you picked a Macan with an integrated screen.
Well, what I think maybe is the reason why they do it now is because infotainment and screens are so important, and the one thing that car companies need to upgrade on a regular basis. So if the design of the dash is with the screen stuck on top, say in 2 or 3 years they update it with a new screen, they can integrate that easier than redoing the whole dash.
True, that might be a good idea. You see that with Volkswagen, with the Taos and the Tiguan. They both have integrated screens, and so does our GTI. But if you look at the European spec, that is changing, and it looks more like the ID7 that's coming out, which I think is a shame, because I'm with you. I like the integrated screen. As for a black interior,
You know what the thing is, you're talking about we're sitting in a Cayenne and you have a Macan. This one does have a lot of brushed aluminum on the inside, and it's one of the reasons why we like it. It's got chrome and brushed aluminum around all the switches, unlike the new Cayenne, which we're going to be driving soon, Andrea. Next week we're going to have a video out on it. Yeah. But you know, pick
to
your
each
poison.
their own. I mean, some people really like the fact that more manufacturers are coming out with different color combos. I like that too, something unique. Do you guys know why the BMW 330e isn't being brought to the US for 2025? I read the range for 2025 was increased to 60 miles. I thought plug-in hybrids were what people want, at least in the US. We're willing, ready to buy. You know what, I did some research on that. You look at the site, even the Canadian site, it's just not there. This new 2025 model, they all have 48-volt mild hybrid systems, which is very different than a pure hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. Maybe it didn't sell.
Well, it was the base model, right? That was the great thing about it, is you got the plug-in as the base model. They did the same thing a year ago in the United States. They got rid of the X3 with the plug-in, and we still had it in Canada. I suspect because the X3 and the 3 Series are all going to be updated with all new models, that's maybe when they'll reintroduce them. Because BMW has said publicly that they're all in on plug-ins.
Well, Car and Driver has reported that in the U.S., the 330e is gone for 2025. And I read a press release from BMW Canada, and that is just not listed as a powertrain anymore.
But we've got to think ahead, right, to what's possibly coming and maybe why they're doing it. I don't know, but it's a shame. I remember they were like, we're all in on plug-ins. I don't get it.
Maybe they're just going to focus on a pure EV.
Well, they
have the sedan.
Yeah, well, they have the i4.
Yeah, but maybe they're going to do something else. I don't know. No word. And the thing is, with BMW or any manufacturer for that matter, they don't want to discuss future products. May come at a later time, but for now, you're out of luck.
Right across the street from us, there's a guy who bought one. He loves it. He
loves it.
Loves it. He even put a level 2 charger in his garage. I wouldn't go that far, but he put it in his garage. plugs it in all the time, loves it, loves it, loves it.
And he's
he had
happy he went with a level 2 charger, even though Zach told him, you don't need it. But because the range, it's not a lot of range on that model, what he does is he comes back and forth to his house and he just keeps plugging it in, so he hardly ever buys gas. He loves it. Please help me. I'm actively looking to replace a 2015 Dodge Caravan. Ooh. I'm wanting a compact SUV and torn between the CX-5 or CR-V. Wanted leather with the 2025 CR-V, would have to be the hybrid to get leather. I'm so worried a hybrid will encounter costly repairs over a 10-year ownership. But the CR-V seems to be much more spacious, much more comfortable seats, better placed cup holders. We have 2 teenagers, one who is pushing 6 feet and a 60-pound dog. Would you even consider a gas CR-V and get sport model with the cloth seats? I worry gas would seem underpowered compared to the CX-5. Small Vancouver Island city driving, 10-minute drives to school, then work, errands, minimal highway driving.
Okay, before we get into this, pro tip for when you're asking questions, make them
it
a little bit shorter. We're not reading a novel here. I think it's pretty easy. You've got a tall teenager and a big dog, and you like the layout of the CR-V. Get the CR-V. It's much bigger. It's much bigger. And spring for, if you're going to keep this for 10 years, don't just get the cheap one. Spring for the hybrid. You'll like it. It drives really well.
And it is underpowered, the gas model. Now, you're just doing city runaround stuff, so you probably won't notice it as much, but you get that thing on the highway, and it's not super quick. So I would also get the hybrid for a little extra power. The CX-5 rear seats are really small. You've got growing teenagers, and I just think that you're going to outgrow that, especially when you're used to the space of a Caravan. So
when you're going from a Caravan,
the
CX-5 wouldn't be my choice if you have big kids. Get the CR-V. It is very roomy, has a big back seat. The dog's going to like the cargo area. You're going to like the fuel economy, and I wouldn't worry too much about a hold for 10 years.
No, me either. Go for the CR-V hybrid.
Spend the money. If you're going to have this for 10 years, 3 years in with the gas one, you're like, I should have bought the hybrid.
Oh, for sure you will regret it.
I remember when the big flat screen TVs came in, and I used to go down to London Drugs and talk to this guy in the electronics department all the time. He said, the number one mistake people make when flat screens started coming in is they don't buy a big enough. He said they buy like a 42-inch and then they should have got a 55-inch. So you're going to regret if you don't buy the hybrid.
Yeah, have no regrets.
And you can slide a 55-inch TV in the back probably. Bet you could.
I just got to say, like, how big are these TVs getting? This is ridiculous.
We have an 80-inch. 80 inches of TV.
It's ridiculous how big it is. People walk by our house and it's in the basement and they look in, they're just like, whoa, that's a big TV. It's so clear. I hear this from our neighbors. Love your show. Both my wife and I watch it almost religiously. Great job, guys. I have a Crosstrek and getting serious with overlanding and planning to get a bigger car, or should we get the GX 460 or the new 550? I've no need for a cool box or a HUD, but almost all 550 over trails have those. I search 500 miles of my zip code and get zero match and no sunroof, no cool box, and no head-up display.
What's a 550? What car is this?
That's the GX.
Oh, the GX.
Well, one of the reasons
okay,
why
wait a second. You're going from a Crosstrek to a GX.
He's getting serious about overlanding and he wants something bigger.
Wow, well done.
Yeah.
I say good for you. If you can spring for a Lexus, I don't know. So which one does he want?
Well, first off, he doesn't want a sunroof, he doesn't want a cool box, and he doesn't want a head-up display. But here is the thing, yes, you can search and you will not find one without a moonroof because it comes standard.
Yeah, but the reason why they have just the moonroof is for body flex, for going off-road.
That's
so
right.
You typically with off-road vehicles, they don't have a panel roof, but they'll often, if they have one, it's just a small one.
So at that price point, I think people would have complained anyway if there was at least, not a moonroof. So here's the thing about the cool box. The Overtrail Plus and Executive models get it. And head-up display, it's the premium luxury Overtrail Plus and Executive. So you're going to have a hard time. You're just going to have to
Get a Land Cruiser.
Cruiser. Yeah, you could get the Land Cruiser instead of the GX. So you got some things to think about, but I think that you're going to have a harder time finding it, even though you don't want those features.
Yeah, you know what? You're just going to have to suck up all that extra luxury and enjoy it. By the way, I think the
Who
one to
doesn't
get
want a cool box?
Yeah, the one that's one up from, we always love our one up from the base. I think the one up from the base in the US is the one to get. It's got the right mix of amenities. And in Canada, that kind of one up from the base is our base model. So I think that the GX, if I was going to buy, I joke about the Land Cruiser, between the Land Cruiser and the GX, I'd go GX all day long to get the twin turbo V6 over the Turbo 4. Absolutely. Well done. You're going to like it. Plus, it looks cool as hell.
It
cool
does
as hell.
look good, but you wouldn't want the hybrid, hey, with the Land Cruiser instead?
No, I want, if I'm going to do what he's doing with it, I'll take the Lexus.
And the Land Cruiser
And Andrea loved it. She went off-roading.
I loved it. It was fantastic.
And she got the wheels in the air. Yeah, she loved it.
I really had a good time.
And then she went around and did it again.
I did it again. It was a lot of fun. I noticed there has been a very strong interest in plug-in hybrids in your recent episodes, but you rarely mention the Volvo XC60 or V60 plug-in hybrids. I understand they've been updated recently with extended electric-only range. Other than the luxury price, do you have any reason not to recommend those models?
Well, my big thing, Andrea, is reliability. Volvo is not near the top of reliability scores. That's my number one reason.
Yeah, JD Power in the recent dependability study has got Volvo near the bottom with Land Rover. So we know how that is.
Not Land Cruiser.
No.
Land Rover.
Land Rover. You're right. You know, I'll use the XC60 Recharge. It gets 58 kilometers of range now, which is great. What is that in miles? 36 miles. But it's just reliability. I think that the Recharge is a great vehicle. It's refined. It's smooth. I like the interior. It feels very upscale. But it's up to you when it comes down to reliability.
Yeah, I mean, it's been around, as you mentioned, for a long time. The design doesn't change, so it's always going to look current. It's got a beautifully finished interior, nice riding vehicle. I just don't say, oh, go get a Volvo, because I don't know what the outcome's going to be.
Yeah.
Listen, for many years we would get Volvo vehicles to test, and there was always something that wasn't working on it.
Nope.
And that's what really was like, really, this is the one you're giving us to drive? The door locks wouldn't work. Something quirky was happening.
Infotainment. There was always some sort of an issue with them. You'll notice it's raining again here in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And, you think it's almost summer. Mach E or EV6, or when is the ID7 coming to Canada? We drove the ID7 last year in France, which was wonderful.
Was it because we were in France, we were in Provence, driving through wine country?
I think, the roads are like silk. There. I mean, amazing. I think it's a good model, but it's big. And you know what? It's like a cruiser. It's not engaging in any way, but it's quick, being an EV.
I would call it, same thing we always say about Volkswagen, Audi Light. It's basically like you're buying an electric Audi A7 or a Volkswagen Arteon electric. It's got the lift back, it's roomy, it's big, it's comfortable, it's smooth. It isn't that engaging in the steering department.
No.
But you know what? The rest of it, I thought was really well done.
Yeah, and I think it'll sell really well in Europe as well, because, it's just comfortable on the highways. It's supposed to be coming towards the end of this year.
They delayed it.
That was allowed. Oh, have
yes,
they? I haven't heard that.
Yes, Volkswagen has delayed it due to the current EV climate, which is the sales, instead of going like this, the sales are going like that. They're still going up. EV sales are still going up. They're just not going up at the rate that they had hoped. So yes, they've kind of hit pause on that. For how long, I don't know.
Well,
Mach
that's
E's
a shame, because it is available in Europe, the ID7, and we drove it.
And it hasn't been selling exceptionally well there.
No.
Which
doesn't surprise me for a large sedan.
I would say the most aggressive on price right now. Ford is doing some great rebates and incentives, and keep an eye out monthly for whatever the incentive is on the Mach E. It's a good product, and I think that if you can get a deal on it.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to looks. The Mach E I think is super cool looking. I like the EV6 too. Don't get me wrong, the rear wheel drive models for both of them start around 58,000, 59,000 Canadian. Consumer Reports doesn't give either a great reliability score, 45 out of 100 for the Mach E and 48 out of 100 for the EV6.
But that's pretty typical with most EVs
Yeah.
because they have so many advanced electronics in them. It's always the bugaboo with EVs. Even, you know, Tesla's right near the bottom of quality scores too.
Yeah. Do you know which one actually gets the best score from Consumer Reports? The Aria from Nissan, 62
Really?
out of 100.
Oh, good for them.
Plans for the 100th episode. Yeah, it's coming up for Questions, Coffee, and Cars. I'd love to see a parade of your personal cars over the years, maybe listed in order of favorites. You guys rock.
Well, you might want to get that in for the 100th episode questions, but we're going to be going away on a pretty epic trip. We're going to Newfoundland thereby. We're going all the way to the other coast from we're on the west coast. We're going all the way 4.5 time zones, or is it 5.5 time zones? Wait a second, I got to do this now. Pacific, Mountain, Central, Eastern, Atlantic, and then Newfoundland. 5.5 time zones.
Yeah, we're going to be tired,
So we're
but we'll
gonna
get used to it.
we're gonna go to Newfoundland. We're driving 2 General Motors products. We're driving a Chevy Silverado pickup. Is great for Newfoundland.
Yeah.
And then what else are we driving?
The Cadillac XT4, which I'm really looking forward to. We just haven't been able to drive it yet. So, is there a better place than Newfoundland to drive the Cadillac XT4? I don't
Maybe
know.
downtown Manhattan. But anyway, we're going to
I
do
don't know
our.
about that.
We're
We might
gonna-
not move.
We're going to put the tailgate down in the back of the Silverado if weather permitting, and we're going to answer your questions from Newfoundland. That's
Yeah,
what
we're going to do the 100th episode from Newfoundland. I think it'll be really fun. And so we'll put questions out for that 100th episode and you guys can all chime in. Hey guys, love the videos. Would you recommend the refreshed Lexus UX, which has the new Corolla Cross Hybrid and Prius powertrain? The price is only slightly higher, but more importantly, the wait time is a lot shorter for the Lexus, few months versus more than a year for the Prius and Corolla Cross Hybrid.
Yeah, because it's so teeny weeny that there's not as many people
I knew he was
wanting
going to
it.
say that.
Yeah, the back seat. I'm going to show you me getting in. It's done in the winter. Now you can still imagine me here in the summer doing it, but here's me getting in. And there's no leg room for Zach in the back, and there's no headroom. And look at the cargo area, how little it is. But if you're a single person or a couple and you're just bombing around, hell yeah.
I'm a huge fan of the UX. I think it's a great product. I think it's priced well for a Lexus. I like the interior. Viewers have reached out and they told me that they went and took the UX for a test drive, this new one, and they said, wow, what a difference. So yes, definitely hold out for that one. We're still waiting to drive it. Toyota tells us, or Lexus tells us, they're bringing it into the press fleet. So hoping to get that soon. I definitely would like to drive it.
Okay, I'll drive you and you sit in the back.
I'll sit in the back. I don't mind.
Now you're going to say, oh, it's great back here, Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will. I like it. Look, but it is small in the rear seat and the cargo area. But
So
I think that you can get by. It just depends what you're using it for.
That's what I was going to say. It depends on the use case. Like I said, if it's just you on your own or you and another person bombing around town, getting groceries and stuff like that, it'll be just fine.
Love this channel and special props to Andrea. Love seeing prominent women in the automotive journalism space. Yeah, there aren't that many of us, that's for sure. Thank you. Do you both think there will be an end to markup culture? I've been shopping hybrid SUVs in San Diego, California, and nearly every hybrid has anywhere from 4,000 to 8,000 in markups due to the demand. They say something to do with continued impacts from the pandemic, but I thought most automakers recovered by now. Is this just the new norm for wanting an in-demand vehicle?
This is what I would do if the local dealers don't have any inventory of hybrids and plug-ins that you're looking for. Maybe shop in a state, go test drive the car at your local dealer, and then shop in a state where you would suspect maybe hybrids and plug-ins might not be that popular, like Oklahoma or something like that, Texas. And then it would be a hell of a lot cheaper to either fly there and drive it back or have it shipped to you in Southern California. It's going to be way cheaper than $4,000 to $8,000. So that's an option if you really want to get one now. It's just popularity, supply and demand.
Yeah, and even in Canada, we see this. Like in British Columbia, we get more plug-in hybrids and hybrids here because of the EV mandate. Same with pure electric vehicles, and they're getting less in Ontario, for example, because there are no rebates there except for the federal rebate, which every province gets across Canada. So sometimes they're just dumping it in areas where they're selling better as well.
Yeah, it's supply and demand. If you look at the sales of Toyota hybrids in the state of California, they've gone up. EV sales have flattened in California, so people are voting with their wallet. There's way more hybrids available from Toyota. They're selling, they'll use them as an example because they're the biggest maker of hybrids. They're selling more hybrids than ever and more plug-ins than ever, which means they're making more. But the demand is still outstripping what they can make.
Yeah.
But try my little trick. Maybe look at a state where you wouldn't think they'd be that into hybrids and plug-ins and see if you can get one. It would be way cheaper to have it shipped to you in California.
Okay, we're going to do just one quick
There's
question.
always
We're
just
running
one
out
more.
of time. Zach's going to tell me, but one more. What features offered in the fully loaded new vehicles would you give up for better value in a lower trim? For example, head-up display, ventilated seats, or a wireless charger. Okay, pick something that you would
Memory
give
seats.
up.
I could get without memory seats if I've got a power seat. I don't need the memory. I just need to be able to do it.
Well, with the new GTI that we bought, we don't even have a power driver's seat.
It's working out.
It's working out fine. The only thing that I really like are front and rear parking sensors. I feel like that's something that's just easy in the city. I don't even need a 360 camera. Ventilated front seats are one feature for us in Vancouver that I wouldn't care about at all.
Do you know we have them in this car?
I know.
I used them once.
I've used them a few times, but it's got to be really hot here. There is one feature that I do like, and that's a moonroof. Even if it's not a panoramic one, that's what I like.
You're not getting me to give up a heated seat and a heated steering wheel.
No.
Especially if you live north of the 49th parallel. Heated seat, heated steering wheel. That's a must-have.
For sure. That's what I want as well. Anyway, that's it for us. Thanks for watching. If you want to get a question in, follow along on Instagram at motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning, I put a post out on Instagram asking for questions. Once we gather them, the post is deleted and we start the show.
See you next time.